Okay, we're back. Um, we're gonna still keep on working on this. This is gonna be a long, long, long essay. I can already tell. There's a lot of areas that I still need to work on. Like we just now got into Metroid Fusion, so I'm not gonna dilly dally. I don't have the time to, so we'll just get right into it. I got to keep quiet so I can actually focus on this. But if someone says anything, I will respond to the best of my abilities. Okay. Hey, I think I. All right, we're gonna make this cute. Very, very cute. Okay. I'm not gonna go in order. Jesus Christ. Like a puppet. Yep. Um, we won't use puppet. We'll use something else. Um, marionette. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm gonna try to get people to visualize them in their heads. So that's why I'm using I'm being very descriptive about it. I think this will work. Okay. All right, I'm gonna go into a lot of detail with him. Give me a sec. Be right back. Sorry about that. Work was calling. All right. All right. Let's get into a lot of detail of this. I'm gonna get very descriptive into this. Mm, it's a great word to use. Yeah. Okay. My ears. My ears, really. My ears. Fight. He shrieks. He fights. But there is nothing left inside. Only mimicry. Only memory. Hmm. Okay. Damn it. The security robot's there, but fine. I'll mention the security robot. Okay. 'Cause I know if I didn't mention it, somebody would get ticked off. He's a hype fight, though. I'm not kidding. That he is a very hype fight. Um, only memory, and through all of them, one. Jeez. All right. I fucked that one up. Give me a second. I just gotta look at my notes real quick. It's only 1:30. I'm just thinking maybe if I can finish this, I can start doing at least the recording aspect of it. But I'm not gonna try to rush this. I'm gonna try to leave you guys off of a banger. Haste makes waste. So it's better I just take my time with this. The reinterpret. Okay. Waste. And with the case of Ridley X, he just the X version. Well, in the case of Ridley X, he didn't even take the form of Ridley. He just took the form of whatever the heck that was. So new limbs, new violence. What was once alive becomes cruel caricature. They, they twist their hosts, adding new instincts, new limbs, new violence. What was once alive becomes a cruel caricature, a form of its flesh. Okay. Okay, let me actually put that in its own paragraph for now. I'm gonna extend this a little bit. Every fu- every fight is a confrontation. Well, in really F's case, the return of an enemy long thought dead. version for familiar form. All right. Don't mind me. I'm just drinking whiskey on the side. So give me one sec. I'm an adult. I can do this. But if you're not an adult, don't do this. Get the climax. Get the climax. No. Get the pre-ultimate. No, penultimate. Encounter. You have to be very, very careful. That's why you shouldn't really say final boss if you know it's not the final boss. You always want to say like penultimate. Like the monster. Get Samus. Get Samus. Her strength. Her tools. Her instincts. Let's go into a little more detail. But this version of Samus doesn't hesitate, doesn't flinch, doesn't feel. Not so. Every boss in Metroid Fusion is more than a fight. They're echoes, stored reflections of creatures that once were. Arachnus, a twitching mass of infected muscle. The security robot, once a tool of safety, is not spared. It fights. It loses. Then falls victim to the influence of the X. Ceres, sleek, fast, moving in violent broken surges. Zazabi bulges with unnatural rhythm. Yakuza jerks and skitters like a marionette strung up by rot. Nightmare, an experimental weapon of war, its face dripping and melting. Even Ridley, long dead, is not spared. His corpse is reanimated into a state of half-life. He shrieks. He fights. But there is nothing left inside. Only mimicry, only memory. and though all of them and though all of them one truth remains. No, one truth becomes clear. Yet don't just imitate, they reinterpret. They twist their hosts, adding new instincts, new limbs, new violence. What was once alive becomes a cruel caricature, a performance in flesh. Every fight is a confrontation with the past, the return of an enemy long thought dead, perversion of a familiar form, the nightmare of a memory brought back to life. In the penultimate encounter with ASAX, this penultimate confrontation isn't against the monster, it's against Samus, her strength, her tools, her instincts. But this version of Samus doesn't hesitate, doesn't flinch, doesn't feel. It's not a battle for survival, it's a battle for identity. In Fusion, the greatest threat is not what lies in front of you, but what lies within. Okay, this is I gotta fix the thing up there. It didn't sound right. Okay, I think that's fine. Okay, let's move on to section 4. Identity and horror in the horror itself. Interesting. Okay, so what we can do is I don't want to sound redundant here because I've said a couple of things and I don't want to repeat myself because it's gonna kill the pacing. Because Identity of the Horror of Self, like we've mentioned, we mentioned a lot of it already. Okay, I can do it like this. This doesn't need to be that lengthy. The horror. Hmm. All right. All right. Let's see how I fix this one. 'Cause I just don't want to repeat myself. So hold on, whiskey. I'm being very cute with this. I'm being very, very, very cute with this one. Hmm. This one is a very extra detail. I'm pretty sure people get the point. Like I mentioned before, doppelgangers, there are some very, very dark implications in dealing with a doppelganger. Hmm. Okay. I don't want to proceed with this. All right, here comes my terrible spelling skills. I am actually shocked. Like I mentioned before in the earlier stream, doppelgangers are terrifying because usually, from what I've seen through various years of playing JRPGs, other games in general, once you're dealing with a replica, doppelganger, clone, one of the scariest aspects of them is them stealing your life away. If someone die, if somehow some way your clone dies, well, you die, your clone can just take over your life. That's it. It becomes you. So this doppelganger becomes a living embodiment of the fear that something else could do you better. Faster, faster, deadlier, purer. Samus is no longer fighting to complete a mission. She is fighting to prove she is still herself. Mm. Ooh, okay. So, um, I'm gonna give a good analogy right now. So, let's just say you're walking through a store. You're walking in a store that's you have mirrors on two sides of you. If you look to your left and you look in your right, you see yourself. But if you look closer, you see yourself multiplied in the mirrors. Certain mirrors definitely had that. They definitely had that. So right now, um, she walks a corridor lined with mirrors. It's cracked. All right, where the hell are we gonna go with this? Federation sees her as an asset. Space pirates view her. Hmm. Shit. The target. Right, is the fragmented. Human fragmented. And then just bear the trauma of infection. She becomes a question mark. And again, as mentioned, doppelgangers are fucking scary. Very, very scary. Hell, it replaces. Because one of the biggest fears people have is the fear of being forgotten. But let's just say you're forgotten, but you're replaced by yourself. That is definitely a conundrum. This is just me with whiskey talking right now. Oh boy. All right. And what is more terrifying than being forgotten? Okay. I think that's good. I'm gonna read it again. The horror introduced by the X shifts from physical infection to something far more insidious, existential disintegration. Even by surviving her encounter with the initial X parasite, Samus's life has changed. Her body is no longer entirely human. Her abilities are no longer entirely her own. She she is a hybrid, forged from necessity. And then there's the SAX, her clone, her double, her other half. It doesn't just look like her, it is her. Same memories, same skills, same armor, but stripped of empathy, stripped of doubt, stripped of a soul. This doppelganger becomes a living embodiment of the fear that something else could do you better, faster, deadlier, pure. Samus is no longer fighting to complete a mission. She's fighting to prove she is still herself. She walks a corridor lined with mirrors. Each one is cracked. The Federation sees her as an asset. The space pirates view her as an enemy. The SAX sees her as a target. Her identity becomes fragmented, human but altered, Metroid but contained, survivor but hunted. She doesn't just bear the trauma of infection, she becomes a question mark, a mystery to herself. Dex doesn't just kill, it replaces. And what is more terrifying than being forgotten by your own reflection? That is scary. That is very, very scary. Okay, I I think we can move on to Dread. At the rate this is going, this could definitely be a long, long video. Not that I don't mind. Again, I had something else planned, but going off of this, I'm not gonna have time to actually do it. But it's all good. I'll leave you guys off with a good one. This Elden Ring track definitely does help. TJ. Looking over my notes. Give me a second. Okay. Let's see. Where do I want to go about this? Especially with her, in her case, she's a planet buster, planet destroyer, what have you. But for some weird reason, things don't stay dead. Okay, that's good. I just gotta overlook my notes one more time. I don't like the way that sounds. I'm just reading this little section over again. I don't like how it sounds. Let's let's get rid of this right here. Okay. Okay. Here's the stuff I have to deal with. Sometimes I hate the way I write. Okay. On the remote plan in CDR. Not by accident, but by intent. Something ancient. This is probably gonna change. Okay, let's see. Wait, how long have I been streaming this for? I've been streaming this for 50 minutes. Okay, that's fine. Let's do like another 20 minutes, then I'll take a break. This is gonna be a lot of writing. Like we're just still not done with this. Holy shit. We are not done with this. Okay. I'm gonna fact check myself later just to be on the safe side. This is what I remember, but I'm just to be on the safe side. I'm gonna fact check later. Okay, that's good. Let's see. He's literally a chimera now. Has some really, really scary implications the more you think about it. And oh my god. It, where do I want to go about this? Hmm. I think I have something. If not, I'll just change it later. F doesn't. We're gonna do a trope. It forces the question. Survival requires transformation. So where I'm going with this is sometimes, like from what I've seen back in the day, people are forced to use something that they don't want to use that goes against their morals, etc., etc., etc. So if survival requires transformation, if you win by becoming what you once feared, did you really survive? So if you won by using something that you goes against your own code, did you really win? Hmm. I'm gonna write that down. When I go over the final draft, I'll look at it again and see if it works. If not, I'll probably just remove it. Survival requires transformation. I hate this power, but to win, I have to use this power. God. I'm probably gonna change this, but that's good. Okay. Where are we? Let me save this. I'm just looking over my notes, seeing where the hell I'm at. Let me read this. Samus believed the nightmare had ended. SR-388 was gone. obliterated to ensure the X Parasite's extinction. But horror doesn't end, it evolves. On the remote island, the remote planet of ZDR, the X has survived, not by accident, but by intent. Something ancient and cruel has preserved it. The Federation dispatches the ME units to investigate, but one by one they vanish. They don't return. Instead, they hunt. These machines have been reprogrammed by a hidden hand. Ravenbeak twists them into weapons, relentless predators designed to extract the Metroid DNA from Samus. Jesus Christ. Not corrupted by the X, but by a vision of domination. Meanwhile, the X begins to spread again and affects the wildlife and the planet itself. ZDR becomes a familiar nightmare, echoing SR 388, but more calculated, more cruel. All the while, something is stirring within Samus in the shadows. Her power grows, but it's not her own. But it's not hers. I might change that. It is alien, instinctual, predatory. She doesn't just fight the X, she becomes its counterforce, a living weapon forged by her enemies and sharpened by survival. By the end, Samus becomes something else entirely. Not human, not Metroid, something new, something transcendent, something terrifying. Her final form is not a triumph, it's a warning. The X doesn't just return, it forces the question. If survival requires transformation, if you win by becoming what you once feared, did you really survive? God damn it. Oh boy. Okay, okay. I like it for what it is, but we'll see how this goes. All right, that's about an hour. Let's take a break because this whiskey started hitting me good. Good stuff. I'm almost done with this rough draft. So in the next section, next streaming session, we'll be able to finish this up. Whoever stopped by, thank you very much. Other than that, I'll see y'all later. Bye bye.